Hi, welcome to our channel of IGNOU Audiobooks. Indira Gandhi National Open University, School of Continuing Education, Certificate Programs, Certificate in Food and Nutrition, CFN-3. Economics of Food, Block-3, Protection, Safety and Consumer Education, Unit-10 Consumer Education. All of us are consumers in one way or the other. In order to make the right use of our hard-earned money, we should know our rights and duties in the marketplace. In this unit, information is given about the various agencies which protect consumers from getting duped by sellers or manufacturers and educate consumers regarding their rights. 10.0 Objectives. After studying this unit, you will be able to describe the importance of consumer education, discuss the role of different agencies imparting consumer education, and list the limitation of such institutions. 10.1 Introduction. In the present days when the consumers are being exploited by the sellers in one way or the other, it is important for the consumers to be aware of their rights and duties. In their own interest, they should know what they have to do in those circumstances. When they are put to a disadvantage, they might have paid a high price for a commodity or might have bought a poor quality product without their knowledge. Many times such consumers say that it was due to their bad luck in a resigned manner. The seller will have the last laugh. Such an attitude leads to serious damage to the consumer. To avoid such circumstances, the consumers should be aware of his rights and should protect them. 10.2 Concept and importance of consumer education. Consumer education means the right to acquire the knowledge and skill to be an informed consumer throughout life. Consumer education aims to protect the consumer against exploitation. This can only be achieved if the consumer is alert and is aware of his rights and responsibilities. Thus, the main concern of consumer education is to educate the people and create awareness through various agencies which will help them to protect themselves against unfair trade practices. Ignorance of consumers is responsible for their exploitation. To prevent this, it becomes necessary to educate and motivate them so that they are vigilant against any wrongful act on part of the seller. Educating the consumer helps in the following ways. Develop the ability to decide and choose products intelligently. Demand safe, reliable and good quality products at a reasonable price. Be alert against corrupt practices in the market. Take suitable action when faced with a problem. 10.3 Consumer Protection Act 1986. One of the most important milestones in the consumer movement in the country has been the enactment of the Consumer Protection Act 1986 to better protect the interest of the consumer. The Act was amended in 1991 and 1993. To make the Consumer Protection Act more functional and purposeful, a comprehensive amendment was carried out in December 2002 and brought into force from 15 March 2003. The Consumer Protection Rules, 1987 were also amended and notified on the 5th of March 2004. The Act applies to all goods and services and covers all sectors, whether private, public or cooperative. The salient features of the Act are: 1. It applies to all goods and services unless specially exempted by the central government. 2. It covers all sectors whether private, public and cooperative or any person. The provisions of the Act are compensatory as well as preventive and punitive in nature. 3. It enshrines the following rights of the consumers. A. Right to safety. B. Right to be informed. C. Right to choose. D. Right to be heard. E. Right to seek redressal. F. Right to consumer education. 4. The Act also envisages establishment of consumer protection councils at the central, state and district levels. 5. To provide a simple, speedy and inexpensive redressal of consumer grievances against defective goods, deficient services and restrictive and unfair trade practices through a three-tier quasi-judicial machinery at national, state and district level. 10.4 Agencies providing consumer education. Various agencies are working to prevent the exploitation of consumers by creating Awareness, educating and helping the consumers to seek legal remedies against unfair trade practices. Let us now study about the agencies and measures for consumer education. 10.4.1 Consumer Protection Organizations. A number of consumer protection organizations have sprung up in urban centers to protect the consumers from being exploited. These organizations, which function under different names, take up the responsibility of bringing to book the sellers who deceive the consumers. But most of these organizations come into the picture only after the consumer is affected. Further, most of these organizations are concentrated in urban centers and do not include the rural sector in their purview. 10.4.2 Mass media. Print medium has come to play a very important role in educating the consumer. Newspapers, magazines, handbills, pamphlets, etc. are being used to disseminate information about the products available in the market, the places where they are available and the prices at which they are available. If you read the newspapers closely, you will see that the price information of different markets is being regularly published. This will help the consumers to compare the prices of commodities between different markets. In the absence of such information, the consumers might buy their commodities paying a higher price. The same medium also publishes information on different types of commodities available in the market and their quality. Such information serves as an important instrument for the decision-making of the consumer. Models of two such sources of information are given at the end of this unit. The media of radio and television in the present days have assumed greater importance than the print media. These media enjoy a very high degree of listenership/viewership, and hence the coverage enjoyed by the advertiser is also more. A very important feature of these media is that even illiterate people follow the messages contained in these advertisements. They help the consumer in getting educated about different products. In the 11th Five-Year Plan, the government has given an increased thrust on consumer awareness activities through all possible media of communication. The multimedia publicity campaign Jago Grahak Jago has become a household name and was declared as the leading government awareness campaign of the year 2008. Consumer awareness messages are disseminated through different media like newspaper advertisements, telecast of video spots, printed literature, exhibitions, nautks, internet, etc. You are listening to this audiobook on Audio Learn IGNOU. 10.4.3 Extension Agencies. The extension agencies of the governments, like the Departments of Health, Food, Agriculture, Social Welfare, etc., educate the consumers from time to time on various aspects of food. These agencies provide information through meetings, demonstrations, pamphlets, film shows, etc. Most of these activities are carried out in rural areas to educate the people in far-flung areas. 10.4.4 Consumer Disputes Redressal Agencies. To provide cheap, speedy and simple redressal to consumer disputes, the following agencies are set up at each district, state and national levels. These are District Forum, State and Consumer Disputes Redressal Commission and National Consumer Disputes Redressal Commission respectively. At present there are 604 district forums, 35 state commissions with apex body as National Consumer Disputes Redressal Commission (DCDRC). If the consumer is not satisfied by the decision of the district forum, he can challenge the same before the state commission, and against the order of the state commission a consumer can come to the national commission. 10.4.5 Consumer Protection Councils. Consumer protection councils are established at the central, state and district levels for the purpose of spreading consumer awareness. The objective of the councils is to promote and protect the rights of the consumers, such as right to be protected against goods and services which are hazardous to life and property, right to be informed about the quality, quantity, potency, purity, standard and price of goods, right to be heard and to be assured that consumers' interests will receive due consideration at appropriate forum, right to choose from a variety of goods and services, Right to acquire knowledge and skill to be an informed consumer. Right to seek redressal against unfair/restrictive trade practices. 10.4.6 Consumer Welfare Fund, CWF. CWF is operated under the Ministry of Consumer Affairs, Food, and Public Distribution. The overall objective of the CWF is to provide financial assistance to promote and protect the welfare of the consumers and strengthen the voluntary consumer movement in the country, particularly in the rural areas. The schemes operated under the CWF for consumer awareness are as follows. 1. Consumer clubs. Under this scheme, consumer clubs are established in each middle/high/higher secondary school/college affiliated to a government recognized board, university. Its main aim is to involve students with consumer protection related issues in a playful and informal manner. Consumer clubs have been set up in schools in the states of Delhi, Tripura, Lakshadweep, Sikkim, Andhra Pradesh, Gujarat, Haryana, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Punjab, Orissa, Pondicherry, Rajasthan, Arunachal Pradesh, and Himachal Pradesh. 2. Promoting involvement of research institutions/universities/colleges etc. in consumer protection and welfare. This scheme has been launched with a view to sponsor research and evaluation studies in the field of consumer welfare. 2. Sponsor seminars/workshops/conferences on the consumer-related topics. The Indian Institute of Public Administration, New Delhi is the model organization to administer this scheme. 3. National Consumer Helpline. A National Consumer Helpline has been established with the following objectives. I. Creating awareness amongst consumers regarding their rights and responsibilities. 2. To provide telephonic as well as personal counseling to consumers. 3. To provide assistance for out-of-court settlements of consumer disputes. The methodology adopted by the helpline includes publicity through leading newspapers at regular intervals, toll-free telephone lines covering the entire country, and trained manpower to provide counseling and assistance. 10.4.7 Consumer Voluntary Agencies. Voluntary agencies play a major role in educating the consumers about their rights and responsibilities. Most of these agencies have capacity only to advise the consumers. Another major drawback of these agencies is that they concentrate mostly on the consumer durables. Most of the food commodities like fruits and vegetables and coarse grains do not come under their purview. Hence, consumer education with regard to the common food items of consumption is very poor. Some of the voluntary consumer organizations in India are as follows. A. Consumer Guidance Society of India, CGSI. CGSI is the earliest consumer organization in India, founded in 1966. Its main objective is to resist consumer exploitation of all forms. It also handles consumer complaints and offers them legal guidance. B. Consumer Coordination Council, CCC. CCC was established in 1993 and is actively involved on issues related to consumer interests and various government policies and programs affecting the interest of the consumers. C. Consumer Education and Research Center, CERC. CERC is the leading consumers' rights organization in India. It is a non-profit, non-government body dedicated to the protection and promotion of consumer interests through active use of research, media, law, advocacy and information dissemination. D. Consumer Online Foundation, COF. COF was launched to interlink and integrate content relating to consumer issues. It provides specific information of the activities, events, press releases and campaigns. Such information helps the consumers in understanding the role of policy and law in consumer awareness. Check your progress exercise -1. 1. What is the role of consumer protection groups in educating the consumers? What are their main limitations? 2. How does the print medium help in educating the consumers? 3. What is the main advantage of radio or newspapers in educating the consumers? 4. Explain the concept of consumer disputes redressal agencies. You are listening to this audiobook on Audio Learn IGNOU 10.5. Let us sum up. In this unit, you have understood the importance of consumer education. The agencies asserting and educating the consumers are the consumer protection groups, mass media, extension agencies and other voluntary agencies. Extending consumer education to the rural areas has not been given due attention. 10.6. Glossary. Consumer education, enlightening the consumers about their rights and duties. Consumer protection, protecting the consumers against exploitation. Consumer rights, the rights, things one is entitled to, of the person who buys or uses goods or services. Exploitation of consumer, taking advantage of consumers' weakness by producers/traders in the form of supplying poor quality commodities at higher prices. Mass media, media through which the masses can be contacted. For example, radio, TV, newspapers, magazines. Thank you. We will see you in the next video.